Hi guys, Spartan765 here today, back with another old school no frills video. Today I'm doing a review on I don't want to call it a complete build, I'm going to call it a rebuild, because I really didn't do any riveting or pressing of barrels and that type of thing. I did, however, reconfigure this weapon here. This is one of the newer 2017 WASR 10s. Now those of you who maybe have owned these in the past, if you owned a 1063 or one of the older WASRs, I did, and they were crap. Constant issues, front sights canted, gas blocks canted, poor receiver quality. That's just not the case with these newer ones. In fact, these WASR 10s are 100% assembled in Romania. They come into the US with a 10-round magwell, and they swap out the furniture for US, mill out the magwell, and they did a good job milling it out. They just didn't deburr it very well, so I went and I deburred that with some Scotch Brite disc on my high speed. But yeah, I mean, other than that, the barrel's chrome lined. It's a nice thick chrome lining. The front sight was only canted on this one about 1.5 degrees. So what I did was I went and I purchased a Arsenal RPK rear sight, so that way I can leave my front sight perfectly centered, just like that, and just made a couple minute adjustments on there. I did install a 34 thousandths diameter front sight. This thing will do really good at 100 meters. It'll do about 2.5 inches with Wolf 124 grain or 123 grain with the iron sights. So it's a decent shooter right out the door. And it'll do about 1.5 inches with this, the Optic I have in here is a Sig Romeo. It's got a 2 MOA dot. Very, very nice optic. It's momentary on, so you can leave it. It's on all the time, but it's not. It's actually powered down until it senses a movement, then it turns on. That's one big plus to this optic. Not a lot of other optics have them. I do wear glasses, so I'm a bigger fan of prism-based optics. That way, if I don't have my glasses, they still... I can still see it and it's not fuzzy, but I like it. Anyway, like I said, 2017 WASR 10. We're going to go over the rebuild spec here first. I was never much of a tactical AK guy. I've built quite a few, or reconfigured quite a few, I should say, for people, and I just decided, you know what, I want to make something my own, but I'm not going to do it cheap. You see so many of these builds that are done with UTG crap and cheap Chinese crap. If you do a build or a rebuild or reconfiguration, do it right. Do it so you get the most bang out of your buck. And I started, like I said, with this 2017 WASR, which is an excellent host. These are high quality AKs. These are not crap anymore. They are good. There's no MIM parts on these things. There's no cast parts on these things that I can tell. It looks like everything is forged as per mil spec. Anyway, we're going to start out up here. It's a Midwest Industries rail, AK rail. I got Magpul rail covers on everything to protect the rails and also to protect your hands and fingers, because these things, when you're shooting, 2-3 mags through these things, they get a little warm. I got a BCM Gunfighter stubby grip on here, and this hand stop. And you may be wondering, what's the hand stop for? Well, it's two things. It's to keep my hand, obviously what it's intended for, a hand stop, from hitting the hot barrel. And it also, you get your knuckle under there, helps you stabilize the weapon really well. So you get a good, firm grip. You can keep shots on target quick, keep the weapon down. I also added a little rail cover here. This is after I took it out my first time and ran it. It was getting a little warm, so I put a piece of rail cover there to keep my finger a little cooler, and it worked excellent. As far as the stock, it's just your Magpul MOE AK stock with the 75 or 0.75, those 3/4 of an inch riser, which is really nice for an optic, and an SM13 rail adapter from Arsenal. Now that's one thing you really don't want to cheap out on, is your rail adapters, because there are some crappy ones out there. Like I said, she'll do 1.5 MOA all day with this thing. Which, she's like, oh yeah, well my AR can shoot bullet and hole. Well, I got ARs that can do bullet and hole too at 100. I also got an AK that's an MOA AK. So I mean, I'm happy with this gun. It's a good SHTF option, I think. I mean, it's no frills. You don't have a bunch of lights or lasers or unnecessary shit hanging off the side of it. Nice thing about the Zukov stock, not the Zukov, the MOE, I could have got the folding one, but I didn't want it, is you could take that off, and here's room perfectly fit for your tool kit. And in here, I always say, if you're going to run an electro-optic on your weapon or a flashlight or whatever, you need to consider battery storage for that optic or for that flashlight or whatever. So I got 2 extra batteries in there, and it runs off of AAA batteries. I forget the exact hours, but it's something insane. So you're not probably ever going to have to replace your batteries. But in an SHTF, you're going to want those extra batteries. But anyway, that's just it. I'm going to call this video the WASR 10 rebuild. Let me know what you think. Questions, comments, criticism, whatever the hell you got to throw at me. I know one thing I'm going to get is you need to throw a different muzzle brake on that thing. Well, you know, I'm okay with this. I know there are muzzle brakes out there that can just take the recoil down to next to nothing AR area recoil, with the standard A2s similar. But I like this because it does do a good job, and it keeps the weapon length down. I don't want to have, you know, a 3-inch break on my gun. I want to try and keep it as compact as possible. But anyway, comments. Oh, I also did a trigger job. Sorry, I forgot to mention. I always do a manual set double stage trigger on all my AKs. That's where I pull the trigger slowly. It'll set to its second stage, and then once it's set to its second stage, it's a very light hair trigger, about 1.5 pounds, and I can make them anywhere from 1/4 pound up to 2.5 pounds, 3 pounds. My one MOA AK at my manual set is a 1/4 pound pull once it's set. But also the trigger functions normally, you know, just your standard 3.5 pound AK trigger. Here's that manual set again. Pull it back, you'll hear it click, it sets in place, and then just a hair trigger. Really nice. Anyway, comments, questions, concerns, I said that for the 3rd time already, whatever. Send me a message, part 7.